こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の教材は、リバプールの遠藤航に関する動画です。リバプールはプレシーズンマッチで横浜マリノスと対戦し、3対1で逆転勝利しました。キャプテンマークをファンダイクから遠藤航に渡すという演出について、スロットが記者会見で語っている動画と、さらにリバプールファンが語っている動画も一つ扱いましたが、今回もリバプールファンの反応として、ザ・アンフィールドラップのチャンネルから、試合直後のリアクション動画を扱います。日本ツアーでは、リオがもはやトレーニオにという若手のゴール、フロリアン・バーツのリバプールにおける初ゴールも生まれ、たくさんの収穫もあったと話しつつ、遠藤航の象徴的なシーンも素晴らしかったと話しています。実際にどのように話しているのか、チェックしてみましょう。
It's the post-match Pint after Liverpool have beat Yokohama 3-1. They do end this fantastic tour with a victory, and these amazing supporters have had 3 great goals to cheer. They turned around in the second half when they went 1-0 down. I was like, oh, I don't really want to be leaving with 2 defeats, and these guys certainly didn't want to see defeats either. But listen, shout out to the young lads in particular who came on. Obviously, Florian Wirtz getting the equaliser was a really nice moment. But for me, those young boys lining up and showing they're ready was something else, and the crowd certainly enjoyed it.
Absolutely, yeah. The first half was a fairly drab affair, to be honest, wasn't it? There wasn't a load to sort of celebrate, particularly from Liverpool's point of view. The lads who played the first half mostly stayed on. There were a couple of changes at half-time, but we saw lots of the main fellas still on second half. And so they started the turnaround, but then the young lads came on and absolutely ripped it up, to be honest. I'm so excited by Rio and Gamoa. Like, this is another one of those moments where I'm like kind of glad that big fridge Jurgen Klopp's not here to tell us that like we need to be patient and all these kinds of things, because Rio and Gamoa is so exciting. Trey Ione, you know, even after his growth spurt, looks so exciting. I'm so ready to love these lads back in Liverpool now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I might tell us we need to calm down as well, because he's still so young. But listen, we've been talking about whether he's a genuine forward option going into this season, and one of the things levelled at them was, well, has he got the output you want? You know, he's a quality player. You can see how excited he is every time he gets on the ball, but, you know, has he got goals and assists? Well, that goal he got just then, you know, it is only a pre-season friendly, but that's what we're doing today. We're here playing a pre-season friendly, and it's some finish from him, and he looked like he was building towards it. He looked like it was happening.
He just superstars the whole evening, didn't he? Really, he's so exciting. Like, you know, you're right. The first half was, you know, one of those where I was like looking at it and thinking, God, I hope they get the goal, the fans. But they get 3 in the second half, and you know, there's not much more exciting than when a young player in his first few games with Liverpool, and even some like Trey Ione, I'd include in this, scores a goal for Liverpool, because it's like, yes, do you know what, that's a proper moment for him, no matter whatever happens in his career from then on. And I think there's going to be big things coming from him. But and then Florian Wirtz, you know, your record signing does it as well. It ends up being a perfect evening, and yeah, I'm so excited by Rio. I said in the previous shows that I wondered whether he was going to be the 6th choice. Looking at the way he plays, how he's sort of like dynamic and exciting, and thank you, it was a good point, you're welcome. You know, you're just looking at this footballer who has this belief in himself and has this fearlessness that feels cliched for someone that age, but he really has it. He's just driving at them and taking them on. He had them on toast. So I'm excited to see where his season ends up.
Yeah, listen, Florian Wirtz is being interviewed.
Contending with the big man.
Yeah, people can watch that later. You know, there was just so much to enjoy about the play, the pair of them, and it's funny, I had to go to the team hotel today. I was shocked, I was sorting tickets out, very on brand even in pre-season. Listen, we all need to warm up, so I had to go to sort of the team hotel today to try and sort something, and I actually saw them too, just sort of strolling through, and you see how young they look, do you know what I mean? They look like 2 lads on a school trip, you know, but then when you see them on the pitch, they play like men, and like Craig says, Troy's jumped up, and the others are playing so well as well. It's fantastic to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you know, we saw last pre-season what Trey Ione can do in terms of technique. He's obviously had to navigate that growth spurt last season while not playing a ton of football, but possibly still being too young for the football as such to matter. Like, just where you want to be on the training ground around these players and learning, and that's the stage that Rio is at now. Of course, Rio is still, you know, only just breaking through. best being around the club and learning. Listen, if you know Liverpool do end up sending him out on loan, then I think he's being fast tracked towards that point. So that's even quite exciting in of itself. But I'm with Craig. I can see a world in which he ends up being genuinely sixth choice this season, getting the same sort of minutes as we saw Chiesa getting last season. He actually starts the game against Accrington and Chiesa doesn't. I'm pretty sure. So even last season there was that consideration sort of flipping between the two of them. If Chiesa goes this summer, which we imagine he probably will, having not come out on the tour and all these things, then it feels to me like there's a surefire place for him and a surefire place for Trey Naoni as well, because you know he has come on physically and the technique is clearly still there. You see that in the second half tonight. So such exciting things to come for both of them. I hope we do keep holding both, but then I hope there are genuine minutes for them because they both look like they're so ready for it.
Yeah, the manager's shown that you need to be really good to play for this football team, and he's not been too worried about letting a few good young players go, but for them too, I think he's got big plans for them indeed. But that guy on the screen now, Florian Wirtz, gets his first Liverpool goal. I didn't think he was brilliant first half, to be honest with you. I think a few of them struggled with the pitch. The pitch out there wasn't the best, and maybe what they're used to, but just to see him arrive in that box and get a goal, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that.
It's a taster of hopefully what's to come, isn't it? And that's all you're really looking for in pre-season. I think, look, we said in the previous game results don't matter, but I think goals for new signings matter and goals for young players matter because, it's finding, particularly for the young players, more than Florian Wirtz, is finding that sense of belonging. For Florian Wirtz, it's it's hopefully the first of many, and I'm made up for this lot because the police went ballistic. Like, I'm struggling to hear you two when you're talking there because they've been so loud and they got so excited when Florian scored. I mean, we did as well. We were sort of stood and I'm bouncing around as if it's a goal that means loads, and actually, it means something because you want your superstar signing to bed in quickly and to be arriving in the box in these moments and scoring these goals when it really matters. But he's doing already.
Yeah, absolutely. And like Craig just said there, a taste of what's to come, you feel from him. You've seen it with this League Cup play. Like I said, the passing wasn't incredible today, but I think we can put a big chunk of that down to the pitch. But he just looks like he's not messing about. He just looks like he's here to deliver for Liverpool. And yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to watching him next year.
Yeah, and listen, there's still going to be a period of gelling. Even if you are a £100 million footballer and even if you are as good as the Reds are, there is still going to be that period where there's going to be moments where maybe it doesn't look the slickest and doesn't look the easiest on the eye. And I think you saw that for the first 45 today, albeit in a game that doesn't have, a ton of meaning, at least to the sort of the Liverpool fan back home, I should say, because it means so much to these lot in the stadium. And you saw that when he scored, like the reaction when he scored was like there was just a genuine roar in here because they're so excited to watch this footballer perform really well for Liverpool, and I think he is going to perform really well for Liverpool. As I say, there'll be those moments where it still looks like he's sort of adjusting to it and Liverpool like they're adjusting to him, but when you are a player who's as good as he is, you're going to see the moments of brilliance shining through from early, and one for the goal earlier, but really the truth is, it's been true in the open trainings so far, it's been true in that first game in Hong Kong as well. So yeah, I can't wait to get back to Anfield and watch him absolutely tear it up this season. He looks like a fellow who's going to win some trophies this season, Gibbo, is what I'd say.
He's got some trophy lifted arms.
He does.
I would say on that. Really nice to see McAllister and Endo on the pitch as well for different reasons. Craig, for McAllister, he's had this sort of slightly strange injury that we didn't know too much about, overhanging from the back end of last season. But he was out on the pitch now and looked like he'd never been away. And yeah, Endo, the ovation when he come on, when everyone realised he was getting the captain's armband, that was a really special moment as well. And yeah, for the two of them in different ways, it was really nice to see them on the pitch.
Yeah, the Endo moment was special, to be honest. He's idolised here, you see it. You hear them singing our song that we created for Endo back in Liverpool. But of course, it's a Liverpool song, and so, they wanted to sort of mark the moment. It was brilliant. It was special sort of to be here, and I mean that was one of the moments that changed the game. I think not in terms of what happens on the pitch, but just like lifted the entire atmosphere. You just felt a real sense of something happening beyond it being a friendly. And McAllister, I was surprised to see him. I was like, oh fucking hell, it's
I wasn't expecting to see him.
The strength in those sort of forward options that Liverpool have in the 8s and the 10s. They've got some belters there. Like Szoboszlai is the one that everyone when they're picking their midfields, they're picking midfields with McAllister and Wirtz and Gravenberch. You're looking at it going, God, that's like the greatest midfield you've seen. But Szoboszlai I thought was pretty good in the first half and was linking up well with Wirtz. Interesting. I think Szoboszlai's still going to get a lot of minutes. He just might be that he gets moved around a little bit. So, but the end of the moment, was special.
Yeah, nice to see both of them on the pitch, like I said, and Craig there talks about, midfield options and bringing McAllister on. I thought Jones was great when he came on as well, and really sort of added energy. I thought all the players who came on in the second half really sort of added a bit of impetus, but in particular in the middle. But I mean, it's not bad when you can start with Szoboszlai, you start with Gravenberch and start with Wirtz, and then you bring it on Endo, you bring it on Jones, and you bring it on McAllister. And then Trey Ione as well. It's decent options.
Talk dirty to me, John. they are some options, aren't they? And there's so much creativity there as well. That's the thing you think, like Craig mentions about them, almost being forward options as 8s and 10s, and that's because that's sheer, technique that all of them possess.
Sorry, Bloody Wirtz just got £1 million. Forget man of the match.
What a
£1 million.
Imagine how much Uniqlo we could buy. Could buy the whole shop.
Does that mean he's got it, or?
I reckon he's got it. Yeah, I'd want it. He's won it.
What is £1 million?
It's about. Oh, I've been all
divide
right.
By 2, divide by 100. So
it's about 20 grand. Someone's showing. Yeah. It's not bad. Hey, it's not bad. Buy a lot of Uniqlo. I used to say down the shop. Sorry, I need to.
It's all right. Don't worry. I was
just get £1 million.
I was just going to say, because one of the supremely technical footballers is literally getting paid for how supremely technical he is, and that's the one thing that Liverpool is so blessed with. There's options there who could. We've got Gravenberch playing centre half in some of the games in this pre-season, and Slot saying that he's a genuine option there. We've got 2 lads who we're thinking might be sort of false nines at times this season as well. So so many great options in that midfield. Hopefully more options coming in the forward areas, and definitely there should be more options coming at centre half. Is the sort of the room to improve we keep banging on about. But in terms of improving on that midfield, I'm not sure how you can at the moment. It's got that perfect plethora of options, perfect plethora of age profiles, and that's the thing that excites me so much, is that we could be stood here hopefully in 10 years time, John, in Japan doing this all again, and we're still watching Curtis Jones and Alexi McAllister and Ryan Gravenberch and Trey Ione and all these lads. So yeah, massively exciting time to be a Liverpool fan. It feels like it's only the beginning of what is a dynasty, and that to me is just absolutely perfect.
£5 grand if I can work that out to us. That doesn't sound as good. There's £1 million. Endo's going to lift a plate, a commemorative plate. He's bringing it over. Well in, Endo, lad. Great plate lifting. He's done that before.
次は解説です。スカウス英語であり、話すスピードも速く、試合後の興奮も残る中での話なので、ところどころ聞き取るのが難しい箇所も多くありました。ボキャブラリーや表現も難しいものも結構使っていましたので、少しピックアップして解説しています。それでは本日の解説をチェックしてみましょ
う。Yeah, the first half was a fairly drab affair, to be honest, wasn't it?
ドラブは、色や雰囲気、態度などが地味で活気がないという意味の形容詞です。例えば、くすんだグレーやベージュのような目立たない色を表現したいときや、演技、試合、一日などが退屈で面白みに欠けると感じたときに使います。ポジティブな印象を与える言葉ではなく、どちらかといえばネガティブなトーンで使われます。また、見た目だけでなく感情的な印象にも使えるため、表現の幅が広い単語です。類語には、鈍いや退屈なという意味のダルや退屈なという意味のボーリングがありますが、ドラブは特に視覚的な印象や雰囲気に焦点を当てるときに適しています。日常英会話だけでなく、文章表現や感想文にも便利な語彙です。
Yeah, the first half was a fairly drab affair, to be honest, wasn't it? Yeah, the first half was a fairly drab affair, to be honest, wasn't it? And Trey Ione, even after his growth spurt, looks so exciting.
グローススパートは、急激な成長を意味するフレーズで、特に思春期の子供が一気に身長や体格が伸びる時期を指すときによく使われます。スパートはラストスパートのスパートですが、スパート自体に一気に吹き出すや急上昇するという意味があるため、成長に限らず、ビジネスや能力の面でも使える応用力の高い表現です。例えば、身長が急に伸びたや、売上が一気に増えたなど、急激な変化や進展をポジティブに表現するのにぴったりです。日常会話や教育、ビジネスでも耳にすることがあるので、覚えておくと便利な語彙です。
In Trey Ione, even after his growth spurt looks so exciting. And Trey Ione, even after his growth spurt looks so exciting.
He had them on toast.
オントーストという表現には2つの意味があります。一つは文字通り、トーストの上に食べ物を乗せた状態を指します。もう一つはイギリスの口語表現で、誰かが完全に支配された、またはやられたという意味になります。例えば、彼は相手を完全に手玉に取っていたというニュアンスで使うことができます。この比喩は、トーストの上に何でも好きなものを乗せて食べるように、自由に扱うことができるという感覚から来ています。 非常に英語らしいユーモアのある表現です。シュアファイアは、成功が確実なや、間違いなくうまくいくといった意味の形容詞です。例えば、シュアファイアメソッドで、確実な方法や、シュアファイアサクセスで、間違いなく成功するというように、結果がほぼ保証されているような場面で使われます。日常会話では、このやり方なら間違いないよと言いたいときに便利で、ネイティブもよく使う表現です。ただし、ややカジュアルな響きがあるため、学術的な文脈よりは、ビジネスやマーケティング、日常会話向きです。類語には、サートゥン、ギャランティード、フールプルーフなどがありますが、シュアファイアは、語感も軽快で、プレゼンやスピーチにも入る言葉です。
It feels to me like there's a surefire place for him, and it feels to me like there's a surefire place for him, and
it's a taster of hopefully what's to come.
タスターは、本来、味見をする人や、試食という意味の単語ですが、最近では比喩的に、前触れや、触り導入部分という意味でも広く使われます。例えば、映画の予告編や新商品の使用版、あるいは学習コースの無料体験なども、タスターと表現できます。この単語は、少しだけ体験することで、全体の内容を伺い知ることに焦点を当てており、マーケティングや教育などの場面でもよく登場します。今後の展開の触りのような形で覚えておくと、実際の会話や文章で使いやすくなります。
It's a taster of hopefully what's to come. It's a taster of hopefully what's to come. I'm made up for this lot.
I'm made up for は、特にイギリス英語圏でよく使われる口語表現で、他人の成功や幸せを自分のことのように喜んでいるという気持ちを伝えるときに使います。メイドアップだけで、とても嬉しい、や、喜んでいるという意味があり、それに、4プラス人を加えることで、誰のことに関して自分も嬉しいという共感的な意味になります。昇進、合格、成功などポジティブな出来事に対して、I'm happy for you よりも、感情がより強くこもった形として使える便利な表現です。
I'm made up for this lot. I'm made up for this lot because the police went ballistic.
ゴーバリスティックは、特に怒りが爆発した時に使われる非常に口語的な表現です。弾道のという意味のバリスティックを転用して、感情が爆発して制御不能になることを表します。怒鳴り散らす。ヒステリックになる。怒って暴れる。といったイメージで、日常会話やドラマ、ニュースなどでよく耳にします。怒りの程度が非常に高い場合に使われるので、強い感情を表現したいときに便利な表現です。
Because the police went ballistic. Because the police went ballistic.
Overhanging from the back end of last season.
オーバーハングは、文字通りには何かが上から突き出している状態を指す単語です。例えば、崖や屋根などが下に向かってせり出しているときに、オーバーハングと表現します。また、比喩的にもよく使われ、特に経済やビジネスの分野では、過去の負債の影響や、先行きの不透明さといった意味で、オーバーハングという言葉が使われます。動詞では、何かに覆いかぶさるや、張り出しているとなり、状況を描写する際に非常に便利な語です。日常会話ではあまり品質ではありませんが、ニュースや経済記事ではよく登場します。
Overhanging from the back end of last season. Overhanging from the back end of last season.
You know, they wanted to sort of mark the moment.
マーク・ザ・モーメントは、何か特別な出来事が起こった時に、それを記念したり、象徴的に残すための行動をとるという意味で使われます。例えば、黙祷をしたり、記念碑を立てたり、スピーチやセレモニーを行ったりすることが該当します。その瞬間を印づけるという感覚で、単に覚えておくだけでなく、その出来事を他人と共有し、後世に伝えるための行動として使われます。フォーマルな場面やニュース、セレモニーの表現でよく登場するフレーズです。
You know, they wanted to sort of mark the moment. You know, they wanted to sort of mark the moment. It was, you know, they've got, you know, some belters there.
ベルターは、イギリスの特に北部でよく使われるスラングで、ものすごく良いもの。最高の一撃。素晴らしい人物などを意味します。例えば、サッカーで決まったスーパーゴールや、ライブでの圧倒的なパフォーマンス、感動的な楽曲などに対して使います。語感としては非常にカジュアルで、興奮や喜びを表現する言葉です。英語学習者にとっては、口語の中でもイギリス特有のスラングの面白さを体感できる語彙なので、会話や映画などで聞き取れるようにしておくと効果的です。
You know, they've got, you know, some belters there. You know, they've got, you know, some belters there.
It's got that perfect plethora of options.
プレソラーは、非常に多くのや、 過剰なほどのといった意味を持つフォーマルな名詞です。日常会話では、アロットオブやトンズオブなどが使われる場面でも、少し上品に、または文章語として、アプレソラーオブという表現が使われます。特に、情報、選択肢、商品、データなど、数えられる名詞の大量さを強調したいときに適しています。ありすぎて困るや、選びきれないといった皮肉を込めて使うこともあり、ポジティブにもネガティブにも応用できる便利な語です。スピーチやエッセイ、ニュース記事などでも見かける語彙なので、覚えておくと語彙レベルがぐっと上がります。
It's got that perfect plethora of options. It's got that perfect plethora of options. It feels like it's only the beginning of what is a dynasty.
ダイナスティは、もともと王朝や支配家系という意味で、歴史上の国や地域を長期間支配した家系に使われます。現代では、比喩的にスポーツやビジネスなどの世界でも、長年トップの座に君臨しているグループやチームや企業に対して、ダイナスティという言葉が使われます。つまり、王朝のように力を持ち続ける存在というイメージです。ニュース記事、スポーツ実況、経済メディアなどで幅広く使われる語彙なので、実用性の高い単語です。
It feels like it's only the beginning of what is a dynasty. It feels like it's only the beginning of what is a dynasty.
いかがでしたか？遠藤航もセンターバックで無難なプレーだったと思いますが、それ以上に若手のゴールやバーツのゴールが試合の中では収穫だったのは間違いないでしょう。マカリスターが怪我をしていたのは知られていなかったようですが、良いプレーをしていたように思えますし、ソボスライもボランチの位置で問題ないプレーを見せていたのではないでしょうか。中盤の層の厚さには文句なしという感じでしたが、遠藤航も中盤でもセンターバックでもどこでも良いので、たくさんプレーしてほしいと期待しています。日本ツアーでは気候の厚さとピッチの悪さ以外は良いツアーだったのだろうとも想像できましたし、遠藤航がどれだけ日本のファンにとって大きい存在かということも実感したことでしょう。来年も来てほしいところですが、少なくとも遠藤航がいる間に日本に来て、あのような感動的なシーンが見れたことは、これからも象徴的なシーンとして、日本人のファンの記憶にも残るものでしょう。またああいうシーンがリバプールでたくさん見れるよう、今シーズンの遠藤を楽しみにして応援したいと思います。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。